Did you know that there are about 2,000 to 3,000 cars abandoned each and every year in Dubai? You can come across legends such as a Ferrari Enzo, abandoned Lamborghinis, and other Dubai billion-dollar cars. And the reason why they're abandoned might shock you.
Imagine being in an accident like this. Oh my God.
It's heartbreaking to see the likes of Bentleys, Porsche, Skylines, even limited edition Hummers being left in an open lot, collecting dust and losing their street cred. Most countries are busy battling crime and lack of natural resources, yet Dubai is dealing with a luxury car abandonment epidemic. Let's now dive into why the cars have been stranded in the first place and how you can get your hands on one of these iconic cars. Dubai has so many luxury cars that have been left behind every year. It's made international headlines all over the world. According to the newspaper Gulf News, around 2,000 to 3,000 cars have been abandoned each and every year in Dubai. It's as if the Ferrari brand does not mean anything anymore. The cars get left on the side of the road, and it makes you wonder, were the cars left because these people have so much money that they couldn't care, or is there another reason for these expensive junkyard piles of luxury cars? These cars have simply been discarded and left by their owners to gather dust in the searing desert heat. It's no secret that Dubai attracts a lot of foreign business people. It's estimated that up to 90% of its population may not have been born in the United Arab Emirates. Abdul Majid Saifaye, director of Dubai's waste management department, says that some of the cars are eventually moved and impounded if they obstruct roads or impact on safety. But others are left as they were, sometimes for years before they're recovered. One of the main reasons why cars get left is due to debt. People in Dubai who default on a loan can be arrested and sent to jail. According to Dubai-based motoring journalist Damien Reed, an expat Australian, jail time might not be your punishment anymore. Sometimes a business doesn't always go as planned, and it seems easier to flee the country than to face jail time. Once the people leave, the car gets stranded, and then eventually lands up at a lot that is making international news. On the odd occasion, cars do get left on the side of the street because the owner is too lazy to sell the car secondhand, or they have too much money and couldn't care less about what happens to the old model. Could you just imagine leaving behind a $2 million Enzo just because you're too lazy to fill in some paperwork? Keeping up with the Joneses can be a rather expensive road to go down, and some people landed in the gutter and the cars landed up in the impound lots. Finally, sometimes it ends up costing more to fix a car than to buy a new luxury car in Dubai. Once the driver has been in an accident and does not want to pay for the repairs, the car gets left at the incident site and eventually lands up at the impound lot for someone to buy as scrap. The thought of a Rolls-Royce being left for scrap makes our heart sad. You might be wondering, what happens to the cars once they get left behind? Well, during the 2008 to 2010 global financial crisis, people did the classic dump and run. During that time, it was illegal if your checks bounced, and you could face a prison sentence. So people would simply flee the country and leave their cars behind. Once they are out of the country, they are no longer liable to pay for the car because the government no longer has the right to prosecute them. The combination of abandoned cars and vehicles wrecked in crashes add up to Dubai being home to one of the richest scrapyards in the world. Picture the scene. On your left-hand side, you have a Skyline with a minor scratch in the bumper. And on your right-hand side, you have a Rolls-Royce SUV that was left because someone could no longer afford to own the car. In front of you, you have luxury cars for as far as your eyes can see. And behind you, you have even more supercars just waiting for you to grab them. So, how do the cars get to the impound? Abandoned cars are issued with a notice and the owners are sent a text message. If owners do not respond within 15 days, the car is seized. The cars then get taken to the impound lot, whereby they sit and wait for their owners to come and get them. Some of the cars are placed nicely in the lot, underneath the shaded area, but others are dumped in the hot sun. The paint starts to fade and the cars begin to rust. Sometimes the lot is so full that they keep the cars on top of cranes just so they can make space for more cars. Under Dubai law, after a car has been impounded, owners of seized cars have 6 months to claim their vehicle after paying a fine. Once the 6-month deadline passes, the abandoned or seized vehicles are auctioned for a fraction of their original price.
Sold for $2,800.
All in all, you're given around 6.5 months to claim back your car, pay the fine, and then carry on paying the car payments. Otherwise, you lose your rights to the car, and it can now be owned by someone else. Fun fact, during a sandstorm, the cars in Dubai can look like they've been abandoned for ages. Police have given tickets to people before thinking that the cars had been left behind, when in fact, it was a storm that made your car look dirty. No matter what, you still need to pay the fine and try to keep your car under cover next time. The police know that there's several fast cars in the country, so they need to make sure that they have vehicles that can keep up with the supercars on the road. Some of the vehicles that have been abandoned get converted into police vehicles. I don't know about you, but I would not mind being a cop in Dubai and driving around in the Skyline or Ferrari all day catching bad guys. Now that we know how these cars get abandoned, it's now time to find out how you can buy one of these exquisite cars at an affordable price. Since Dubai needs to make space and get rid of the cars, you can buy them at auction. During the auction, the cars are relatively cheaper than what they're worth, purely because they need to get the cars out of the impound lot and into someone's garage. Auctions happen all the time. You can buy your dream car via online auctions, or you can go to one of the auctions, take a look at the condition of the cars, and make a choice about which car or cars you wish to buy. The cars that go on auction are the cars that have damage, as well as the cars that have been left behind. The impound lot owners do not care why the cars are there, they just want them out as soon as possible. It's good to know that as an American, you can also buy one of the luxury cars without having to step foot into Dubai, and this is how you do it. You can log onto the auction sites, find which car you wish to buy, and make an offer. The bidding happens the same online as it does in person. Once the auction is over, they'll let you know if you own the car or not, and then you can make plans to get the car to your house once you've figured out a way to buy the car. You might have dreamed of owning your very own G-Wagon, and now you can. There are a few things you need to keep in mind before buying a car at auction. Number 1, you're buying a second-hand car, so make sure the car is in good working condition because once you own it, you're going to be responsible for fixing what needs to be fixed. A lot of the cars have flood damage, fire damage, and have been involved in accidents. The interior of the cars might look impeccable, but make sure the mechanics and electrics of the cars are not too damaged. You don't want to be spending a lot of money on a lawn ornament. 2. Even though the cars are cheaper than normal, you're still looking at spending about $100,000 for a 2015 Ferrari California. But if no one sees the car on auction, you can grab it for a steal of around $40,000. And 3, find out the shipping cost before you buy anything. You might be saving money on the car, but you can end up spending more on shipping fees and other costs that show up at your doorstep. It's scary to think that there are 3,000 exotic luxury sports cars, legendary brands, and astonishing machines lying around the desert collecting dust because people were too lazy to sell the car secondhand or were scared of jail time. One man's trash is another man's treasure.